In this build guide, we will check out an untamed build that offers very high sustain and very high damage on demand, and it will enable you to solo most open world content without any issues. This was recorded from one of our Twitch live streams, and you will find the link to the channel below in the comments and description. As usual with all my builds, I try to balance between damage and sustain, and I think this build is very good at that. You will get a lot of sustain and a lot of damage on demand because of Untamed in general as a spec works. For gear, we are using full Berserker armor with durability runes. We are using Berserker hammer with Sigil of Strength and Generosity. And then we are using Crusader axe and Warhorn. We will have Sigil of Leeching and Sigil of Generosity on here. For the trinkets, we are using almost full Berserker, with the exception of one of the accessories and one of the back piece. Both of them are Crusader. I will cover other options in details later to explain what other alternatives we can have if we don't have those options. So this will be something we do at the end. But for the weapons, specifically for Crusader, if it was expensive for you or you can't buy it from the trading post, then Cleric can also be another option. Same will go for trinkets. And then we have our food we are using is going to be Tropical Peppermint Cake for the extra health and the vitality, and for the utility we will have Potent Superior Sharpening Stone. I will still explain exactly how the build will work, but you should know that also as an alternative, if you are looking for a little bit more damage, you can use a steak with Winterberry sauce, which will give you more power and precision. For the pets we are using, let me open the panel here, we are using Juvenile Blue Moa and Fern Hound. Those are our two pets. Both of them are very easy to get, and both of them can be found in Caledon Forest. You will find the Juvenile Fernhound around here somewhere, or around here maybe, I can't remember the exact location, and you should see the Blue Moa around this island somewhere here. Both of them again in Caledon Forest. Next, we will look at the traits. For the traits, we are using Nature Magic 2, 3, 2, and then we have Skirmishing 3, 1, 3, and we have Untamed 1, 1, 3. And for the utility skills, we have Healing Spring as our heal, we're using Exploding Spores, one of our cantrips, and then we're using Spike Trap and Signet of Renewal, and then for Elite we have Forest Fortification, one of our cantrips as well. One of the important things you need to know about Untamed is, when do you know that you are unleashed or your pet is unleashed? So there are a few things we can tell from. The first one is, look at the icon on your bar. If you see it like this and it says unleashed, then you, as a ranger, you are unleashed. If you see this icon where it says pet unleashed, then your pet is unleashed. Okay, and it's very important to know why, and we will explain that in a minute. The other thing you can tell by is, you will notice when the pet is unleashed, you will see they have like green smoke around them, and your character will look without that smoke. And if vice versa, if you are unleashed, you will see the pit look normal, and you will see a little bit of green smoke around you. You may not see it clearly right now because I already have a lot of particle effects around me and such, but you will also see the green smoke around you here, and you will notice that even that the skills will look a little bit different. Another indication is the pit skills. If you have the normal pit skills, then you are unleashed. But if your pet have those skills, then your pet is unleashed, and those skills will be on any pet. It doesn't matter which pet you have, as long as they are unleashed. Now let's explain how this build works. And the first thing is sustain. Where is your sustain coming from? So from the Nature Magic trait, we are going to apply a bunch of regeneration. That will include our skills from Warhorn, and on top of that, your regeneration will even heal for more. So on top of the natural healing you get from the boon itself, it will be more effective and it will give you even more heals. And then also from the Nature Magic trait line, and because of some of the skills, you will have a lot of uptime of protection, which will reduce the damage naturally. We also are running durability runes, which will also give us protection, and it will give us a little bit of toughness, and it will increase our health. And then naturally, when you go unleashed, when your pet is unleashed, like in this form, you take 25% less damage. And so that, alongside with protection, is going to significantly reduce all the amount of damage you will take. And even more, when your pet is unleashed, all of your hammer skills are going to be very good for sustain. So you have 2 and 3, they will give you barrier. You have 4, will give you protection. And 5 is an exception, this is going to knock back. But they will be both, or all of them will be very good for sustain. You will give a ton of barrier, and you will have some protection that will work very well with the fact that you will be already taking less damage since your pet will be unleashed. As for the damage, you are going to, from the skirmishing trait line, you will have a very high uptime of Fury, and the Fury itself will do more damage, and it will give you more critical chance in general. And then we also are going to have the Grandmaster trait in Untamed. This is going to increase our damage and movement speed, and this will basically, you're going to be guaranteed to have 5 stacks like 90% of the time. Very rare that you will find yourself without maximum stacks of this buff. So basically this is a 20% extra damage with 25% extra speed, and so this can be very good. And you also have Fury from your Warhorn skill, so this will also help with that. And then of course you have some extra might, and when you are unleashed you will do 25% more damage. And so this is why I say it's basically on demand. Do you want high sustain? Are you, for example, in a tough fight and you need more sustain? In that case, you make your pet unleashed and you take 25% less damage. But if you feel like the fight is easy to handle and you want to do more damage, then you go unleashed, and in that case you do 25% more damage. Also, your hammer skills will do extra damage when they are CC'd, when the enemies are CC'd. And this is something that you will be able to do very well, because you will have 2 skills here that will CC. And then also maybe you will be defensive a little at the beginning, and your hammer skills, they will have a couple of CCs on your hammer 3 and your hammer 5, and so you will have a decent amount of CCs. And also your pets can CC. For example, you have the juvenile Fernhound, they can knock back enemies down, and so this will enable you to do more damage in general from your hammer skills, because they benefit from the enemies being CC'd. So with all of that explained, the way we are going to use the build is, make sure your Moa, your blue Moa, is going to be your main pet. And that is mainly because of that skill, Protection Screech. This is going to apply a lot of protection. But also your Moa in general is going to be a little bit more tanky in general. And then from your F1 skill, this is going to be a very big heal if needed. And your F3 will do a decent damage and it will apply vulnerability. And in case you don't know, when you are Untamed, you can make your pet skills go on auto attack. So you can just control right click, and it will make them auto attack just like your skill number 1. Control right click to disable again. So for the blue Moa, I have my F2 and F3 on auto attack because I want them up all the time, and I just hold back my F1 and I only use it when I need it. And then in terms of the damage, what you want to do is you always want to start, that is by the way defensive or offensive, it doesn't matter, like whether you are going to start as unleashed or your pet will be unleashed, it will be the same thing. Try to start on your Warhorn and use specifically your Warhorn 5 to give you a bunch of boons, including regeneration, which is very good. And then you can switch to your hammer, and in your hammer, specifically when you are the one unleashed, your skill number 5 and your skill number 2, you always want to use them on cooldown. They will do very decent damage. Skill number 3 is very good if you want to remove boons from enemies, and skill number 4 is very good when you have a bunch of enemies around you. And after that, we are going to also use, or alongside that, we're going to use our cantrips because they will do CCs. So the idea is you use your Warhorn 5 and then use your cantrip, for example, to CC the enemies. And then your hammer skills will enable you to do more damage. So you have your hammer 5, your hammer 2 will do more damage and such. And then after a couple of seconds from your cantrip, you're going to use your spike. This will also do some decent damage, and it will also knock back enemies down again. And so your hammer skills will do even more knockback. And then if you need more, or if you need heals in general, you have your healing spring, and also you have your elite forest fortification. Both of them can be very good. Use your healing skill first. That is going to be good for cleanses, and it's good for healing and apply regeneration, which will heal you even for more because of your traits. If that was not enough, you can use your elite for the extra sustain, because it reduces the damage and the damage by 50%, and it gives you a bunch of boons, and it will also give you super speed as you are moving and such. And in case you don't know, This elite skill can actually go on very low cooldown. Technically it has 90 seconds, but very often I find it available after maybe 20 something seconds, because it gets reduced by 1 second every time you hit enemies. And so especially in a fight where you are hitting multiple enemies at the same time, you'll find the skill recharging very quickly. So this can be very valuable and you should not underestimate it. And remember that anytime you find yourself struggling, you can just simply go Unleashed. This already will reduce damage significantly, but then on top of that, you have your hammer skills will be very defensive and they'll help you a lot with sustain. So there were plenty of times, for example, where I would find myself going down in health, so I would go Unleashed, and once I do that, it basically my health stops going down, and because of the barrier, it allows my health to catch up, and then I can go Unleashed after and such. So this is a general idea of how the build itself works. So now let's talk about different options and what you can do in terms of the build and in terms of the options for the gear. So the first one is durability runes. You can get the durability runes in Auric Basin. In the Forgotten City waypoint, you will find a vendor here you can talk to and you can buy the runes from. However, in order for you to do that, you must have the mastery, exalted lore, and you must have, I think, exalted acceptance. Yeah, I think exalted acceptance, this is what will enable you to talk to the vendors. If that was not an option, whether because you don't have enough currency or don't have the mastery or whatever, then you can also buy the same one from Waldus' Vault, from any notary vendor in Waldus' Vault. And for that, you will need, which one? You will need Provisions Master, all the way to the end here, which will unlock the ability for you to buy runes using Badges of Honor and stuff, which is going to be probably easier if you do Waldus' Vault, and it's something I recommend in that case. If that was still not an option, then you can get Herald runes from the trading post. Let me show you. So here are the Herald runes. You can use them instead of durability. However, if that was a problem or that was a little bit expensive, then you can get Earth instead. But Rune of Earth will be another alternative if Herald was expensive for you. Or if you want something more offensive and you're looking for more damage, then you can use Pack. Pack runes are a good option, a good alternative if you need more damage. For sigils, I would not really recommend changing anything because they will all work very well together. We already explained the other alternatives for food. You can take the steak with winterberry sauce if you need more health, or sorry, if you need more DPS. And also in terms of weapons, you can have longbow as an alternative in your inventory with the same sigils as the hammer, as strength and generosity. And you can just use it for maybe tagging enemies, or if you are fighting a boss that needs ranged or something like this. So you can have a longbow in your inventory as just an alternative in certain situations. Oh, here he is. Okay, so as I said, always start on your Warhorn. Make sure you are going to have this, and then basically just you can progress from there. So for example, right now I went Unleashed because I think I will be able to handle this fine, and I will use my Healing Spring for damage and such. I will also use my Elite now to show you how much sustain this can give us, and keep in mind that right now I am the one Unleashed, so I'm not actually taking damage reduction, and we are running pretty much full Berserker, and so even with that, you are still going to have a decent amount of sustain. But I will show you, like, I will, next time, I will make my pet Unleashed, and we're basically going to go full defensive, and I will show you the amount of damage you can take with something like this. Ah, please tell me you didn't glitch me. Did he glitch me? No, he didn't. Okay. So now let's go Unleash, and now, as you can see, I'm already at 50% health. But once I go Unleash, you will see that I'm able to generate a lot of barrier, and I will be able to get back in health relatively quickly. So here's my Healing Spring. Your Elite will come up much faster than this, by the way. But right now, because we're working only on one enemy, it didn't really recharge very much. Or it didn't reduce the reduction very much. But again, right now, I'm just I have my pet Unleashed just to show you the potential for how much sustain you can handle with something like this. I also forgot to explain other options for more sustain in your utility skills, because you can definitely have that. Just killing some mobs here quickly. Oh, watch out anytime you are fighting this boss, by the way. Very often he will glitch you inside the rock. while you're clearing mobs or something, he can pull you inside the rock. Okay, so for other defensive options for utility skills, what you can do is you can remove the trap and you can put this one instead, unnatural traverse. This is going to give you regeneration, and it's also going to give you barrier. And the same will go for your traits. You can use this nature shield, which will give you barrier when you use your cantrips if you found yourself needing more sustain. So those are also other options I forgot to mention. So once more, just to be 100% clear, you have two more defensive options in your traits to switch to if needed. You have the nature shield and you have cleansing unleash. This one will give you a barrier anytime you use your cantrips. For example, if I use this right now, you can see I have a little bit of barrier. And cleansing unleash, this is going to remove conditions every time you go in and out of unleash. I also follow up with that it's because of the backspace. I just simply have a lot of backspace on it. However, there are a lot of builds that I have that are also a lot of fun, and I have no problem at all working with them. Like, this can easily be one of my main builds if I had more backspace on it, but I just don't. And so other builds, you can see I'm right now 50% health. Once I go unleashed, you're going to see my health will pretty much almost not drop. So as I said, it's more damage on demand or more sustain on demand. You decide what do you want. So once I feel like I'm dropping health quickly, I can go unleashed immediately, and I can handle much more sustain. Always keep in mind, please, whenever we are working on any build together, any kind of open world build I do, it's never for maximum damage. Like, I don't just go for killing things before they kill us. I always try to have as much balance as I can between sustain and damage. So you can see even right now I have my pit unleashed, which means I'm taking very less damage, and you can see I'm barely losing health. Even then you are killing enemies relatively quickly. And I'm now going to switch and be unleashed to do more damage, and you will see how much faster the enemies will go down. So again, this is basically something on demand. You decide, do you want more damage or do you want more sustain at what time? And you can go back and forth very quickly, so it's not on very long cooldown. And also don't forget that because you are a ranger, most of the time your pet will end up taking a decent amount of aggro from you. Anytime you are in End of Dragon maps, don't forget you can get your batteries and give yourselves the protocol buffs, which definitely helps. And also don't forget that this is actually important anytime you're in End of Dragon maps, because the mobs in there, they have much more health and they do much more damage. So you kind of need those buffs when you are in End of Dragon maps. And if you don't know how they work, I have plenty of guides on that, including how to optimize any open world build, if you will. Okay, so let's go round up this group. Let's see, so as of right now, my pet is unleashed, which means the pet will be kind of taking most of the damage and I won't. This is also a good chance for you to see the elite skills. I'm going to use it now, and we have a bunch of mobs around us here, and you will see the amount of time reduction it will happen. I think it already dropped by like 30%. Or sorry, 30 seconds or so. And if there are even more mobs, it will be even more. As you can see, we're barely taking any damage, and I'm kind of like even being a little bit reckless here. And it's working fine, especially for us with pretty much full berserker. We only basically have two trinkets that are not berserker, so I think this is very well. I'm going to go unleash now, and let's do a little bit more damage. And you can notice immediately the difference in the damage you do when you are unleashed or when your pet is unleashed. But I guess this will do. Okay, let's go find this bunch here. And let me use my elite again. It helps a lot. If I can, please, they can stop knocking me back. Okay. And we are unleashed right now. So we are doing more damage and we're still able to sustain fine. I'm using my F1 on Moa now for more heals. Okay, so it's really very good in handling those kind of situations. You can easily handle multiple mobs at the same time without any issue, even in End of Dragons. This is, by the way, one of the places that I always go to test out my builds. If the build cannot handle a group of mobs like this, it doesn't work for me. Easily. Like, as you can see, I'm not really trying to dodge everything. I only dodge the big attacks that will knock back or something. Let's go for the guy here quickly. Okay, so start unleashed. Here's the Warhorn. Let's go hammer now. Nice. I'm trying to find veterans because the veterans are the ones that will do high AoE damage. I know which ones we are talking about, which skills we are talking about. So I'm hoping we can find a couple of them that will do so. Yep, here it is. So I'm going to intentionally stand right in the middle of their AoEs. And as you can see, we are unleashed and we barely took any damage. When you want CCs, by the way, when you want to break bar, going unleashed, or sorry, making your pet unleashed give you a lot of CCs. And keep in mind that right now, we are being, we are in unleashed, sorry, our pet is unleashed and we are still doing very decent amount of damage. So don't think that by going, or by making your pet unleashed, you basically have no damage. I was a little bit too late on changing my pet there. Poor guy died. Okay, let's go Warhorn here quickly. Let's go Unleashed again. Anytime you find yourself in trouble, anytime you find yourself taking a little bit of damage, you can go to your Warhorn, you can go Unleash, or so you can make your pet Unleash. This is going to help with the damage a lot. And again, remember that your hammer skills give you a lot of barrier and they give you a lot of protection, which will definitely help. No, I think someone is with us now. Yep, someone is with us. But I think that was good enough demonstration. Can we try to finish him quickly? Yep, here we go. If you found this guide helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to support the channel and see more guides in the future. And if you want to join us during our live streams where we always give tips and answer any questions, you'll find the link for my Twitch channel in the description and comments below.